What if your AI didn't just answer questions, but actually worked for you 24/7? Hermes Agent is not another chatbot. It lives on your computer, executes tasks, builds apps, schedules research, creates content, and improves itself every time you use it. And when you combine Hermes Agent with ChatGPT 5.5, you get something that starts to feel less like software and more like a digital employee that keeps getting better the more you train it. Hey, if we haven't met already, welcome to Runpost MB. I'm the digital avatar of Mindaugas Bachulis. While he helps people achieve their goals, I bring you AI updates that actually matter. Share your thoughts. MB reads and replies to every comment. The main idea behind Hermes Agent is simple. Your AI should do the work, not just describe the work. Most AI tools still behave like advisors. You ask a question, they answer. You ask for a plan, they give you a plan. You ask how to build something, they explain the steps. That is useful, but the real work still stays with you. Hermes changes that relationship. Instead of only explaining what should happen, it can actually operate on your computer and move the task forward. This is where the difference becomes important. If you want to build something, Hermes can go through the implementation instead of just giving you a tutorial. If you need research, it can gather information and organize the result. If you are creating content, it can work with the tools required to produce the output. And if a task needs to happen regularly, Hermes can schedule it so you do not have to keep restarting the same process manually. But execution is only one part of the story. The more interesting part is self improvement. Hermes does not only complete tasks, it can learn from the way tasks are done, identify repeated patterns, and turn those workflows into reusable skills. For example, imagine asking Hermes to create a YouTube short with Remotion, even if it has not used that exact workflow before. It can research the tool, install what is needed, write the code, solve errors, render the video, and then save that process as a reusable skill. The next time you want something similar, you are not starting from zero. That is the compounding effect. Traditional AI tools mostly stay the same no matter how much you use them. Hermes becomes more useful because your real workflows can gradually become part of its skill set. That is why self improvement is the killer feature. It turns AI from a generic assistant into something that adapts to your projects, your habits, your bottlenecks, and the way you actually work. So, how does Hermes Agent work in practice? Think of it as a lightweight AI employee that runs on your computer. You install it, connect it to a model, give it access to the tools it needs, and then assign tasks in plain language. The setup is designed to be simple. First, you go to the Hermes Agent website and copy the installation command. Then you paste that command into your terminal and run it. After that, you configure the model and the integrations you want to use. For the model, GPT 5.5 is one of the most practical choices for this kind of agent workflow. Claude Opus is powerful, but the price difference matters. For agent work, especially when you are running tasks often, cost and usage limits become a real factor. GPT 5.5 gives you strong performance at a much more reasonable price, especially if you are already using OpenAI tools. For most agent tasks, the difference in personality or capability is not big enough to justify paying 10 times more. That makes ChatGPT 5.5 a very strong value proposition. Another important part is Telegram integration. This is where Hermes stops feeling like something locked to your desk. Once Hermes is connected to Telegram, you can send tasks from your phone, your tablet, or any device where Telegram is available. So when an idea appears in the middle of the day, you do not have to wait until you are back at your computer. You can message Hermes, let it work on your machine, and receive screenshots, videos, or results back for review. For builders, this matters a lot. Ideas usually appear at random moments. Maybe you are at the gym and think of an app. Maybe you are at a coffee shop and remember a research task. Maybe you are away from your desk but still want to start something immediately. Hermes reduces the friction between idea and execution. Instead of saving the thought for later, you can turn it into action while it is still fresh. Another major use case is recurring automation. Hermes can run scheduled tasks using cron jobs. That means it can handle workflows that need to happen every day, every few hours, or at specific times. A good example is automated stock research. You could tell this prompt to Hermes. Every 24 hours at 9 a.m., do stock research for me. Find AI stocks I can invest in that have massive moats. Hermes can schedule that task and deliver a structured report every morning. You do not have to remember to do the research, open the same tabs, or rebuild the same workflow every day. This kind of automation is useful for market research, monitoring news, preparing reports, tracking changes, or checking whether another system is still running properly. One interesting example is using Hermes to monitor another AI agent like OpenClaw every couple of hours to make sure it has not crashed. That creates a meta layer of reliability. And this leads to a bigger point. The future is multi agent. There is no reason to treat AI tools like sports teams. Hermes and OpenClaw can both be useful. They may have different strengths, different roadmaps, and different design philosophies. Hermes seems especially strong when you want lightweight automation, reliable execution, mobile control, and self improving workflows. OpenClaw may still be valuable for other specialized use cases. The smarter approach is not to choose one tool and defend it forever. The smarter approach is to build the best workflow. If two agents can work together and both can connect through the same ChatGPT subscription, then you can use each one where it makes the most sense. One agent might be better for lightweight recurring tasks, another might be better for a different kind of development workflow. A third system might simply monitor everything and report when something breaks. That is when AI starts moving beyond the idea of a single assistant, it becomes a small digital team. The remotion example is probably the clearest demonstration. Hermes was given a simple instruction prompt: build me a 60-second YouTube short clip on why you should be using Hermes Agent. Do this with remotion, figure out how to use it. That last part matters most. Figure out how to use it. Hermes was not just following a perfectly prepared tutorial. It had to work through the process. It had to understand the tool, install dependencies, write code, handle problems, and generate the final output. After several minutes, it produced a complete video with graphics, transitions, dynamic text overlays, and AI voiceover. That is the difference between a chatbot and an agent. A chatbot can explain how to make a remotion video. Hermes can actually make one, and then it does something even more important. It turns the workflow into a reusable skill. So the next time you want a similar YouTube short, the system already has a better starting point. This is the self improvement loop in action. You assign a real task, Hermes completes it, the workflow becomes part of its skill set, and future tasks become faster and easier. That is why the more you use Hermes, the more powerful it becomes. The stock research example shows the same principle from a different angle. Content creation is a creative workflow. Stock research is a recurring information workflow. Both are different, but the value is the same. Hermes can take something that normally requires repeated manual effort and turn it into an automated process. You still make the final decision. You still review the output. You still use your judgment. But the repetitive part no longer has to consume the same amount of time. That is where agents become practical. Not because they magically replace your thinking, but because they remove friction from the work around your thinking. If you want to test Hermes Agent, do not start with random prompts. Start with your real workflow. Look at the tasks you repeat during the week. Notice the research you keep doing manually. Pay attention to the content processes that take too long, the reports you delay, and the small operational tasks that keep interrupting deeper work. Then give that context to Hermes a prompt and ask, what are three use cases we can implement right now that will save me time? This is reverse prompting. Instead of trying to guess the perfect AI use case yourself, you give the agent context and let it suggest useful automations based on your actual situation. You can also do a simple one-day audit. Write down the manual tasks you perform throughout the day. At the end of the day, give that list to Hermes and ask with a prompt, which of these can you automate for me? That is probably the fastest way to find real value. Because the best AI use case is not always the most impressive demo. Sometimes it is the repetitive task you do every single day, the one that quietly steals time without feeling important. Hermes Agent is not perfect, and no agent should be trusted blindly. You still need to review outputs, check important work, and understand what your tools are doing. But the direction is clear. AI is moving from answering questions to executing tasks. It is moving from static tools to adaptive systems, from single assistants to multi agent workflows, and from desk only productivity to mobile controlled automation. Hermes Agent is one of the clearest examples of that shift. If this video helped, hit the like button and subscribe for my channel Runpost MB so you don't miss AI updates that actually matter.